Cyberpunk is not about saving the world. It's about saving yourself. This is a quote that's been expressed by the creator, Mike Pondsmith, several times. Yeah, it sounds cool, but it goes beyond that. It's the foundation of the cyberpunk world and sets a precedent for what players should expect. It's not a fantasy RPG like D&D, in which you embark on a cross-dimensional adventure to save the multiverse and become the hero of prophecy. No, it's a much more grim reality that shares its roots with our own. The world is far larger than you. No character should expect to take on the world and change it as a whole. Sure, you can make some ripples that extend to the lives of those around you, or maybe even have some influence with a reputation of a legend. But to save the world and create true change is just not realistic. Just look at Johnny Silverhand. His whole objective was to bring down the corporations that ruled the world with an iron fist, doing anything he could to make them hurt. Yet even after his career as a rocker boy and helping to take Arasaka Tower to the ground, nothing changed. Not one bit. A few decades later, Arasaka Tower was built once again and had a new hold on Night City. The goal in this world is to not restructure it as a whole, but to find a spot in which you can belong, to turn a shitty situation into one worth living, to save yourself at any cost, or to leave any sort of mark behind that you were there, that you were living. There's a quote pretty early in the game by Dexter Deshawn that embodies this idea, one that stays with you for the rest of the game.
Would you rather live in pieces, Mr. Nobody, die ripe, old, and smelling slightly of urine, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory, smelling near like posies, without seeing your 30th?
It's first place or no place, Dex. Cost isn't a factor.
Classic. I'd expect nothing less from eager, supple youth. Respect.
For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to refer to V as a male. My first playthrough years back, and my initial run of Phantom Liberty was with a male V, so just for my sake. In reply, V doesn't really have the option to say anything in objection. It shows a clear determination of V early on in 2077's story, one that can't be changed or even influenced by the player. Just like his close friend, Jackie Wells, V has it in his head that this is the only way of life, that this is their calling and anything else is below them and their ideals. In the base game of 2077, this remains throughout all the endings. V raids Arasaka Tower alone, with Rogue, with the Aldecados, or with Hanako Arasaka, all of which turn him into a legend that would aim to go out in a blaze of glory over anything else. The release of the Phantom Liberty expansion spelled out a new option for V, one that was never previously represented or available to him, one that entails the quiet life over a blaze of glory. And yes, while it can be argued, especially by Silverhand, that the devil ending is choosing the quiet life, you still fight through Arasaka and kill Atom Smasher, so I wouldn't entirely consider it the same. This is a life that is only obtainable through the sacrificing of others. After all, it's not about saving the world, it's about saving yourself. You're forced to betray Songbird and side with Reed, a decision that would come to haunt a lot of players upon viewing her final message.
If you're watching this, you know how our story ended. I'm a smidge jealous, I'll admit. I'm scared, V. But I need to trust you, and I do. And if you're watching this, I was right to. So, I thank you.
Songbird as a character has divided the community in what she stands for and what she deserves. Each player will come to their own conclusion, displaying just how well woven she is into the complex story of 2077. This is my perspective. Just like many others, she's a victim of the system who had her own flaws long before being picked up by Reed. Yet, these flaws were the same as any other in the world. Dreams of becoming a legend, being one of a kind and accomplishing the impossible. one shared by the likes of V and Jackie Wells, ones that got the Konpeki crew killed and V enslaved to the relic. So should she really be viewed any differently than the likes of Jackie or V? She's done what she needed to survive, all while making one major miscalculation in her method, always trying to play both sides. She isn't the type that legitimately wants to discard and kill whoever she uses, a contrast to someone like Dexter Deshawn or the Voodoo Boys, who always plan to get rid of anybody they use in one-off gigs. Even in the event that V betrays her at the meeting with Hansen, she still doesn't want them to die, especially not from the horrifying bloodlust of rogue AI. V, in reward for betraying Songbird and siding with the NUSA, is provided his promised way out, a chance at survival and to permanently remove the relic and Silverhand from his head. Going through with this offer from Myers and Reed, V finds himself at the very same rooftop we've all seen before. This time though, the atmosphere has shifted. There's a clear hesitancy from Johnny about calling Reed and going through with the surgery.
Say you told the FIA to stick their offer where the sun don't shine. Just don't make the call to Reed. We'll find another way.
Do what now?
Message. Didn't see it? They want to wipe me. Need me to explain the ins and outs?
Yeah. It's just... I didn't put the facts together till now.
Convenient. But say I go along with that. Question is, what are you gonna do with the facts?
There's a desperation that hasn't been seen before, a push for a route better suited to his lifestyle of toppling corporations. Johnny shows fear of being deleted and anger at the outcome V has chosen.
What the hell you want from me, Johnny?
Acknowledgement, decency, a sprinkling of regret, and an apology.
Want an apology for me choosing to save my own life?
No, V. An apology for fucking ending mine.
Spent your whole life living on a whim, looking out for your ass and your ass alone. Got no right to lecture me, Silverhand.
You want me to act like this, us, was just a big nothing burger, and we'll just drift off into sweet slumber. Except only one of us is waking up.
This is the final conversation between V and Silverhand, yet it turns out to be bitter. A swarm of emotions from Johnny that likely negatively impact a lot of players, guilting them into regret. But what if I told you this isn't the only reaction you can get out of Johnny? You can get one that's much more fitting for this conclusion of V's journey. If you've secured the prerequisites for the secret ending and achieved a 100% relationship with Silverhand, you'll get an entirely different response from the Rocker Boy, one that is much more agreeable with your decision and understanding of the outcome. You can still tell that Silverhand doesn't want to simply be killed off. Like he said before, he'd prefer the outcome of entering the net. But this time around, he doesn't want to guilt V. Silverhand understands that at the end of it all, it was always V's body, and the expectation was always that V would get it back to himself. After all, Silverhand is just a copy of the original, an AI that is composed of code utilizing the original consciousness and brain of Silverhand. The in-universe term for this would be soul-killed pseudo-intellect, otherwise known as SPI or ghosts. By all of this, the information doesn't really detract from the reality of it all. Silverhand, original or not, is a living construct, one capable of human emotion and especially empathy, something even the original Silverhand lacked. I believe that it's best you listen to his final words.
Think this is it, kiddo?
Yes. So,
Promise me one thing, will you?
I promise. No idea what, but
I promise.
Not asking you to never give up. Sometimes you gotta let go. Just don't let anyone change who you are, okay?
Johnny,
Good night, Valerie. Today was a good day.
And after this farewell, V awoke in the year of 2079, with an absence of Johnny and the relic, which was expected of his surgery, but there was much more missing. Something that had helped to define V up to this point, his chrome, a side effect in which his neurons could no longer handle the activation of combat implants. It would overload his system and kill him. To add insult to injury, Vic is the only person V is able to meet up with when visiting Night City for the first time in 2 years. Everyone he previously knew had moved on, had new lives, and had no space for him any longer. V wasn't just feeling the absence of Silverhand, but nearly all of his old chums. But it was just moments for V. Everyone had managed to live their own lives without him, a very realistic reminder for some that life can continue ahead, with or without you, and for better or for worse. A theme present in all of Night City's new atmosphere. Conflicts had come and gone, gangs and corporations pushed out while others moved in. Night City was now an unfamiliar territory to someone who once had it at his feet. Victor, despite being the welcoming and empathetic person he's always been, no longer has a shop that shares this atmosphere. The previous relaxing and self-owned garage had been entirely converted to a sterile corporate shop now owned by Zeta Tech. He no longer had the control he once did, only the self-delusion that he was happy to work as a Ripper Doc, even under a corporation. A living Night City legend was reduced to nothing more than a corporate-owned asset, a parallel to V's own journey. Not only is Vic unable to help V, but he ends up not even having time to spend with him, as their short-lived meeting is interrupted by a patient threatening to file a corporate report against Vic if he doesn't provide assistance at a moment's notice. Opting to leave the clinic instead of causing trouble for Vic, V is forced to face the harsh reality of his new life, to fully comprehend that he is starting at square one. Two lowly thugs are able to effortlessly toss V down a staircase, knocking him out. No matter what V does in this situation, he is powerless. A living legend who was once capable of taking on the likes of Kurt Hansen, Oda, and even Atom Smasher, is defeated by two street-level thugs. Two thugs that couldn't have even scraped V's armor before the surgery. Luckily, V wasn't alone in this defeat. He awoke to see a familiar face, Misty. With her spiritual and emotional guidance, V was finally able to stop looking back at his life. The life he once knew is gone, and with it, the old him is dead. He's forced to start anew, reduced to that of just another person in the crowd, one who no longer had to cling to his reputation as a Night City legend. I've seen this ending leave a bad taste in the mouth of players after its initial playthrough. Hell, it did for me as well. While initially playing this ending, I had a similar reaction. I thought, God damn it, really? Another bad outcome in the sea of despair that is Night City. Yeah, he's alive, but at what cost? Surely we could have gone at least one happy ending before a dreaded wait until the release of the sequel. I find this to have been a result of the surge of emotions the ending gave me, a point-blank reaction before looking at the greater image. It took some reflection, not only of Phantom Liberty, but Cyberpunk as a whole to come to a new perspective that I think everyone should share together. And no, I don't mean 2077 as a whole, I mean the entirety of the series, tabletops, comics, and the new novel included. I've always been a firm believer that the endings of 2077 aren't nearly as grim as everyone makes them out to be. I know, a contradictory statement to my initial reaction to the new ending. Like I said, I was pretty emotional and heart-wrenched by this. Throughout my time as a content creator and fan of Cyberpunk, Whenever I see people debating happy endings, I see this Silverhand quote tossed around a lot.
Guess I meant, I don't know, a happier ending for everyone involved.
Here, for folks like us, wrong city, wrong people.
While this quote might initially look to be true, you've got to view the situation from a different lens. While the endings tend to put a 6-month lifespan on V, it doesn't change that at the end of the day, he's been bought some time. While he might be back to square one, it's with the knowledge, strength, and experiences that he's gained during his time becoming a living legend. Even for Silverhand, he just ends up beyond the black wall to survive with Alt Cunningham and the other soul-killed AI she's gathered, an ideal situation that he actually shows to want in the new Phantom Liberty ending. Further this with the various theories that he could be saved, such as with the aid of Mr. Blue Eyes or Biotechnica cloning, and he does have a reasonable shot given his resources. In every ending besides the devil, V is soul-killed, therefore he's an AI implanted in a body being overwritten. So in theory, this AI could be transferred to a capable body and survive. Oh, but how could a clone be made of his original body if his DNA is being overwritten? Well, it's the cyberpunk genre. It's extremely doubtful that his original DNA or blood work isn't in storage somewhere. The NUSA, his Ripperdoc Vic, or even that necklace hanging around his neck would make do. A necklace containing the bullet that originally killed him. So yes, V has a shot of surviving and living a maybe sorta happy life in the other endings if achieved. But what does it all mean for the new Tower ending? Well, it shouldn't be viewed as depressing. This new ending is a chance for V to live any way he wants. He had been forced to struggle just to survive because of his heist at Konpeki and slotting the relic. V never had a choice. It was either to fight or to die. It's actually a miracle that he's in the situation he's in. Keep in mind what Silverhand says to you. You started from the bottom once. You're fully capable of getting back to the top. Never let Night City keep you down. After all, we all know V won't let that happen. He has more opportunity now than he could ever know what to do with. Whether it's the life of an edge runner or not, he can continue on with the certainty that he has the choice to live. He has the rest of his life to form new relationships, friends, connections, and more. This is the start of a much more cemented life for V. We must keep in mind as well that the extent of damage to his nervous system is unknown. It's stated that he can't use combat cyberware, but his physical condition might be much better off than the impression the ending provides us. V is just 2 years out of a coma. The fact he can even walk is impressive. In all likelihood, it sounds like he can still perform as any normal chum that doesn't chrome up. He even has his personal link and simple coprocessors. So in theory, he could still netrun, just not performing as effectively as a combat netrunner. I'd also like to point out that the #1 solo and Night City legend, Morgan Blackhand, was modest in his cyberware installments and favored traditional weaponry. Even with lower levels of cyberware installed, he reached the top of the mercenary world, and could even outperform the full Borg, Atom Smasher. If you're a little confused, it's probably because he isn't mentioned much in 2077, since he hadn't been seen since 2023. So all this information comes from the canon sourcebooks created by Mike Pondsmith. So even with no cyberware, Beast still has all of his experiences in a functioning body. While he certainly couldn't come close to being a top mercenary when he has 0 cyberware installed, he could definitely still perform as one. Just no longer at the level expected of a Night City legend. But let's think about it. His chance at learning the field of Zero Chrome could actually provide him an advantage in the future. Blackhand predicted this of the solo class, that everyone was becoming too reliant on special gadgets and going in loud to get the job done. Well, V will learn to do without. What benefits does this provide to V? Well, with all the hints provided throughout the tabletops in 2077, there's likely an AI invasion inbound, an invasion from the rogue AI of the old net, ones that we've barely seen a glimpse of from just the Cerberus AI. And when this invasion does happen, Everyone will be caught off guard with their tech turning against them, or running around like headless chickens not knowing how to function without all their gadgets. This is when V's predicament will be most favorable. Now, this isn't to say we see him in the future sequel, but it's to point out that his life as a mercenary, or even just a life without Chrome, shouldn't be seen so negatively. If anything, it will be a benefit to him going forward. In terms of conclusions, I believe his ending is the most hopeful. Yeah, it's depressing, as change always is, but he no longer has to fight for survival against the relic. I believe there's chances for him to survive no matter the ending, but none of them are nearly as cemented as this one. V was so focused on survival throughout the story of 2077 that he never got to completely process the death of Jackie and everything that followed it, much less being able to look to the future and think about what he would do after everything was sorted out. Honestly, I think that V's best ending was always going to be fading back into the city. He had been there once, and after experiencing the numerous traumatic events following Konpeki preceding his surgery, he deserves the chance to change as a person. So, I have one final message for you. When you reflect over the new ending's core values and what it means for V's future, don't focus on all the other possibilities that could have been. Don't criticize V for pursuing the most promising chance at survival. Because at the end of it all, once it's all said and finished, Cyberpunk is not about saving the world. It's about saving yourself.